Queensland politics could be in for its biggest shake-up in more than a century. The major parties are backing a push for fewer state elections, which would mean politicians getting an extra year in office. Whether that happens depends on you, with a referendum to be held in a fortnight. Tonight we speak exclusively to a former Premier who's worried the push for fixed four-year terms will fail. Rob Borbidge is well versed in the cut and thrust of politics.
I think there's a very real chance that the referendum will fail because people are angry and upset with the political system at the moment.
During his time as opposition leader, Mr Borbidge watched his adversary use every campaign tactic at his disposal, including a Premier's right to pick the election date.
That was his wedding anniversary. 24th of March. He reckons that's a good election day.
They're held roughly every 3 years, but voters and oppositions are usually kept guessing about the exact timing.
Ruling in and ruling out is speculation.
Theoretically, it gives the government an advantage.
By going 2 months early, the LNP is hoping to catch Labor on the hop.
Queenslanders don't want, and they certainly don't need, months of endless politicking.
But often that's exactly what Queenslanders get.
When do you want an election? October? No, that's a bit late.
Hello, how's everybody?
But if this month's referendum succeeds, future polls would be fixed to the last Saturday in October every 4 years.
It's about saving money for the taxpayers. Less elections mean less cost to the taxpayers.
In a rare show of bipartisanship, Labor and the LNP both argue more time in office means more time to implement policies and big projects.
Right across the state, people are going to realise that a fixed four-year term gives the state certainty.
The Yes case is being supported by the Chamber of Commerce.
It is a no-brainer in terms of what we should do.
It says fewer elections are better for business.
4 in every 5 businesses hold the belief that state elections are bad for the economy. Consumers go into slow motion. That hurts sales, that in turn hurts their profitability.
Unions are backing four-year terms too, with a Facebook campaign.
Queensland working families, I don't think, are very turned on to the beauty pageant, the spin of election campaigns, and they really would prefer governments to focus on long-term policies.
Queensland is the only Australian state without four-year terms, but we're also the only state without an upper house, and that's one of the key concerns.
We live in a state without an upper house, without a Bill of Rights and with a history of authoritarianism. One of the few controls on governments in this state are elections, and we should not be reducing those controls.
Civil Libertarians and Qantas Australian Party are spearheading the No case.
What it means is basically an extra year for bad government and an extra year for a non-performing politician.
They don't buy the argument that Queensland's committee system helps hold the government to account.
In theory it should, but it didn't do much of that during the Newman period. It's not fully developed yet.
There would be other safeguards. The Governor of the day could dissolve the Parliament if a no-confidence motion was passed. For such a big change, the build-up has been low-key. Apart from a mail-out, there's been little campaigning from either side. Former Premier Rob Borbidge says fixed four-year terms make sense, but he's fearful the no's will win.
The level of cynicism has never been so great, and I think that in the current political climate we might see a reaction to what people perceive to be members of Parliament trying to vote themselves an extra 12 months in office, an extra 12 months pay.
He says it's the right idea at the wrong time. Voters get their say on March the 19th.